Good evening, everyone. Today we will start our Unit 1, History and Development of Yoga. This subject we will read. It is believed that yoga has been practiced since the beginning of civilization. The science of yoga originated thousands of years ago, much before the first religions or beliefs were born. In the yoga, Vidya Shiva is considered as the first yogi or Adi Yogi, as the first guru or Adi Guru. Just as we know, all thousands of years ago, on the banks of the Kanti Sarovar Lake in the Himalayas, Adi Yogi imparted his enlightened knowledge to his famous Saptarishis. You all know Saptarishis?
Yes.
Sanat Kumara, Sanaka Sanandana, Sanatan Okya, Surpindilocha.
Okay, very good. So the Saptarishis carried this powerful science of yoga to various parts of the world, including Asia, the Middle East, North Africa, and South America. Interestingly, modern scholars have noted close parallels found among ancient cultures all over the world. However, it was in India that yoga first found its full expression. A sage named Agastya Rishi, who traveled thousands throughout the Indian subcontinent, shaped this culture around a yogic way of life. Many fossil remains and seals of the Indus Saraswati Valley civilization with ancestors during yoga suggest the presence of yoga in India. We always see in temples the different kinds of yogic practices in carvings, many carvings, these types of presence of yoga in India. Many fossil remains and seals of the Indus Saraswati Valley civilization with ancestors doing yoga suggest the presence of yoga in India. Seals with idols of Mother Goddess, phallic symbols suggest Tantra Yoga, especially in Tantra Yoga. Yoga is present in folk traditions, Indus Valley civilizations, Vedic and Upanishadic heritage. Buddhist and Jain traditions, philosophies, epics like Mahabharata and Ramayana, mystic traditions of Shaivites, Vaishnavites, and Tantric traditions. Apart from this, there was an Adi or pure yoga, which has been expressed in the mystical traditions of South Asia. This was a time when yoga was done under the direct guidance of a guru and its spiritual value was given special importance. It was a part of worship and yoga practice was ingrained in this sanskar. During the Vedic period, the sun was given the highest importance. It is possible that due to this influence, the practice of Surya Namaskar was invented later. Pranayas was a part of daily rituals and was done with devotion. Though yoga was practiced in the pre-Vedic period, the great sage Maharshi Patanjali systemized and codified the then prevalent yoga practices, its meaning and related knowledge through his Yoga Sutras. After Patanjali, many sages and yoga masters contributed immensely to the preservation and development of yoga through their well documented practices and literatures. Surya Namaskar, historical evidence of the existence of yoga dates back to the pre-Vedic period. Actually, 2700 BCE, we can understand it. And thereafter, till the time of Patanjali, the main sources from which we get information about the practices of yoga and related literature during the period are available in Vedas, four Vedas, Upanishad, these are 108, and Smritis, Buddhism, Jainism, teachings of Panini, epics, जिनमें कि 2 होंगे, Ramayana and Mahabharata, and Puranas, which are 18, etc. Finally, the period between 500 BC to 800 AD is considered as the best period and is also considered as the most fertile and important period in the history and development of yoga. You see, I am just asking these special highlighted proportional. The period between 500 to BC to 800 AD. Please note it down. This is the most fertile and important period in the history and development of yoga. Okay. Then during this period, Vyasa's commentaries on Yoga Sutras and Bhagavad Gita, etc., came into existence. This period can be mainly dedicated to the two great religions preachers of India, Mahavir and Buddha. The concept of 5 great vows, Panch Mahavratas by Mahavir Swami, and Ashtamagga or Eightfold Path by Buddha can be considered as the initial nature of yoga practice. We get a more clear explanation of this in the Bhagavad Gita, in which the concepts of Jnana Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, and Karma Yoga have been elaborated. These 3 types of yoga are still the highest examples of human wisdom, and even today people find peace by following the methods shown in the Gita. Patanjali's Yoga Sutra not only contain various components of yoga, but it is mainly identified with the 8 paths of yoga that is called Ashtanga Yoga. A very important commentary on Yoga Sutra was also written by Maharishi Vyas. During this period, importance was given to the mind, and it was clearly shown through yoga practice that both mind and body can be controlled to experience equanimity. The period between, note it down please, the period between 800 AD to 1700 AD is considered as the most classical period in which the teachings of the great Acharya Traya, that's called Acharya Traya. Note it down please. Acharya Traya में आएंगे Adi Shankaracharya, Ramanujacharya and Madhavacharya were prominent during this period. During this period, Bhakti period, the teaching of Sudarshan, Tulsidas, Purandar Das, Mirabai made great contributions. Nath yogis of the Hatha Yoga traditions such as Matsyendranath, Gorakhnath, Chauranginath, Swatmaram Suri, Maharishi Gherand, Srinivas Bhatt are some of the great personalities who popularized the tradition of Hatha Yoga during this period. तो क्वेश्चन ये बन सकता है एग्जाम में कि which period which considered these all are yogis, Hatha yogis. So we can understand the time period 800 AD to 1700 AD, between this period. Now the third period came, the period between 1700 to 1900 AD is considered as the modern period in which great yoga masters Ramana Maharshi, Ramakrishna Paramhans, Yoganand, Vivekanand, etc. contributed to the development of Riyaj Yoga. This is the period in which Vedanta, Bhakti Yoga, Nath Yoga or Hatha Yoga flourished. Shadanga Yoga, the yoga of Goraksh Shatakam, Chaturanga Yoga, the yoga of Hatha Yoga Pradipika, and Saptanga Yoga, the yoga of Gherand Samhita, were the main fundamentals. Please note it down. We all noted down in other sectors in this period that Shadanga Yoga in the yoga of Gorakshatkam, Chaturanga Yoga in the yoga of Hatha Yoga Pradipika, and Saptanga Yoga in the yoga of Gherand Samhita. They are the main fundamentals of Hatha Yoga, Swatmaram Suri. Now we will understand the origin of yoga. The yoga is the very ancient science from Vedic period to modern period. All the sages, saints, scholars, writers, psychologists, etc. believe in the glory of yoga. In various ancient literatures, the following description is found in the context of the first speaker of yoga. Hiranyagarbha is credited with being the first speaker of yoga. Hiranyagarbha has been described in various Arsha texts as follows, according to the Yagyavalkya Smriti. Hiranyagarbha is the speaker of yoga and no other ancient one. 20/5, Hiranyagarbha is the originator of yoga and no one else. The description of Hiranyagarbha, the first speaker of yoga in the Mahabharata, is known from this sukti. The speaker of Sankhya is called Kapil Muni, the supreme sage. Hiranyagarbha is the speaker of yoga and no other is the speaker of Purana. It is said in 2nd by 394/65, that is the speaker of numbers. The supreme sage has been called Kapil Muni and the ancient speaker of yoga has been called Hiranyagarbha. Hiranyagarbha is also mentioned in the Vedas as Brahma. जिससे कि हमने बहुत सारे वेदों में, चारों वेदों में जब भी हिरण्यगर्भ का डिस्क्रिप्शन आता है तो उन्हें ब्रह्म के रूप में जाना गया है. And now हिरण्यगर्भ हा समवर्ता ताग्रे भूतस्य जातः पतिरेक आसीत् सदाधार पृथिवीं द्यामुते मां कस्मिं द्यावते हश्विष्य विदेमः. That is called in Rig Veda 10/121/1. That is, first of all, Hiranyagarbha was born, who is the only husband on the entire world. Meaning of Hiranyagarbha is deer. It means gold store. A gold store, worm. Deer means gold store and worm means place of origin. Generally, Hiranyagarbhas are described, which are as follows. 7 Hiranyagarbhas is there. First Hiranyagarbha is sun. One in the form of element and the other in the form of sage. 2 types of. The second Hiranyagarbha is intelligence or Mahat Tattva. The third Hiranyagarbha is Acharya Hiranyagarbha. The fourth one is disciple of Shiva. The fifth Hiranyagarbha was father of sage Urja. The sixth Hiranyagarbha, Rishi Parmeshti, son of Prajapati. The seventh Hiranyagarbha was Brahma, the creator. Now we will understand actual meaning of yoga. The word yoga is derived from the Sanskrit word yuj, which means to join oneself with any object or to engage oneself in any work. According to Panini, there are 3 yuj dhatus: yuj samadhu, divadi ganay, yujir yoge, rudadi ganay, yuj samanve, juradi ganay. Yuj samadhu. What is yuj samadhu? We will describe here. Divadi ganya, yuj metal means samadhi. The nature suffix of samadhi means samyak sthapna. That is when there is a deep union with Brahmanadi situated in Sushumna. That state is of samadhi. In other sense, yuj samadho means to join for the attainment of samadhi or whatever sadhanas are mentioned in the scriptures for attaining samadhi. Adopting those sadhanas in your life is the first meaning of yoga. Now we will, in second expression, yujir yoge. The word yuj means to join, connect, meet, and combine. Yujir yoga means to unite, that is separation from this sorrowful world and union with God is called yoga. It has been described in the Srimad Bhagavad Gita also in this manner. Tam vidya dukh sanyoga viyoga yoga sanjitam. That is Gita's 6/23 shloka, means that being free from the association of this sorrowful world is called yoga. It is the means by which the soul is united with God with knowledge. Thus, the meaning of yoga is the union of the soul with God. Now, the third, Yuja Samanvay, Churadiganya. Yuja means sanyama. For example, control of mind. Thus, the meaning of Yuja Sanyamne is control the mind is yoga. Controlling the mind is yoga, and the knowledge of controlling the mind is also yoga. Thus, the meaning of yoga is by adopting yoga practices, controlling the mind, controlling the soul, and uniting the soul with the supreme soul is yoga. Now, definitions of yoga in different sages. According to Maharshi Patanjali, Yoga's Chitta Vritti Nirodha, that is the complete absence of the instincts of the mind, is yoga. According to Maharshi Vyasa, yoga is yoga samadhi, that is samadhi is yoga. And the third one, according to the Manu Smriti, Dhyat Yogana, Samanvaya Dhyati Stanamartha, that is called 16/731. The soul can also be known by meditation yoga. Therefore, there should be yogic meditation. These are the definitions, different definitions, which can understand by these practices. According to the Kathopanishad, यदा पंचावतिष्ठन्ते ज्ञानानि मनसा सह बुद्धिश्च न विचेष्टन्ति तामाहु परमागति ताम योगमिति मन्यते स्थिरामिन्द्रिय धारणाम अप्रमत्तदस्ता भवति योगो हि प्रभाव्यप्ययो. That is called second chapter in third valli and 11th mantra. Means when the five senses become stable along with the mind and the mind unites with the calm intellect, this state is called Paramgati. The stable concentration of mind, intellect and senses is yoga. The definition of yoga is given in Sankhya Shastra as follows. Purush prakratyoti yoge api yoga ityabhidhiyate. That is means by establish the separation of man from nature. The nature is by separating both of them. That is by separating both of men. Becoming stable is one's true nature is yoga. And then now, according to Yagyavalkya Smriti, Sanyogo Yogya Ityakto Jivatma Paramatmano. That is means the union of the soul with God is called yoga. According to Vaisheshik Darshan, Tadnarambha Atmasye Manasi Sharirasya Dukha Bhava Sanyogah. 2 by first chapter 2/16. That is when the mind is fixed in the soul, it has no beginning of the work of the mind, that is yoga. And lastly, according to Srimad Bhagavad Gita, Yogastha Kuru Karmani Sangatyakta Dhananjaya Siddha Siddhayo Samo Bhutva Samatvam Yoga Uchyate. It is described in Srimad Bhagavad Gita, 2nd chapter, 48th shloka. A man endowed with intelligence gives up both good deeds in this world, fight for that yoga which is a skill in actions. I just tried to paste here the entire shloka. just my first type. And then that is the knowledge by which one is separated from the union of sufferings is yoga. Therefore, that yoga should be done with determination, with a mind concentrated, with enthusiasm, faith, and patience. According to Maharshi Arvind, yoga is the attainment of God with losing one's life. According to Swami Vivekanand, the study of ancient Arsha text is yoga. According to Yoga Vasisht, the method of crossing this ocean of the world is called yoga. It is called 6 by 1 by 13 by 3. Now we will understand the goals and objectives of yoga. In some texts, the purpose of yoga has been defined like this: the hearing of the branch served by the Brahmins is the fruit of the Kalpavriksha. That is, the fruits of the Kalpavriksha in the form of the Vedas are Yoga Shastra. By following this, the fruits of Kalpavriksha in the form of Vedas are Yoga Shastra. By following this Yoga Shastra, the three types of sufferings of the world are mitigated, in whom all this is known is certain. In that effort is to be made, what else is to be thought of? शिव संहिता में ऐसा बताया गया है, in whom all this is known is certain. In that effort is to be made, that else is to be thought of. The next text is, one should make efforts to know the Yoga Shastra by knowing which this world can be known. Then there is no purpose is knowing other Shastras. Only through this yoga practice can one achieve self-realization, elemental realization, and divine realization. Therefore, it is also said to Yagyavalkya Smriti, this is the supreme religion, which is self-realization through yoga. That is the sadhana by which self-realization and Brahman realization is achieved is Yoga Shastram. It is the ultimate religion of every human being. Satu Dirgha Kala Narantarya Satkara Sevito Dradbhumi. This means that is practice is achieved only by accepting respect and doing it with devotion for a long time. Therefore, for the success of yoga practice, enthusiasm, unbroken practice, and guidance of a capable guru are required. Only then can one progress in yoga practice. Three importance of yogas are physical importance, mental importance, and spiritual importance. The physical importance of yoga is described in the Shveta Upanishad as follows: न तस्य रोगो न जरा न मृत्यु प्राप्तस्य योगग्नि शरीरम. Second chapter, 12th mantra, that is, a man who has heated his body in the fire of yoga has no disease in his body, nor does he show signs of old age, nor does he die untimely. Brahma Vidya is stated in the Upanishads. Now, second one, mental importance. Mental disease arise from the mind of the mind is healthy. If the mind is healthy, then the body also remains healthy. There is a close relationship between our mind and body. The mind affects the body. In case of depression in the mind, the body becomes weak. On the other hand, in case of disease in the body, mental diseases arises. And the third one is spiritual importance. The mind is the cause of bondage and liberation for man. One who is attached to sense gratification for bondage is considered to be devoid of sense gratification for liberation. Brahma Bindu Upanishad said, means that the mind is the cause of bondage and liberation. Only human beings attached to objects fall into bondage, and forgetting objects lead to liberation. Therefore, in yoga practice, philosophy can be attained by making the mind God oriented. Yoga is actually the means of attaining the four purushartha. Different other purposes of yoga are all round development of life, for example, physical, mental, spiritual, moral, and social development, purification of emotions, behavior and character, formation of personality, relief of suffering or torment, removal of affiliations, attainment of divinity, introduction of Vedas, Upanishads, and yes, Prasthantrayi, that these are, and the concept of the four Purushartha. These are Dharma, Artha, Kama, and Moksha. And then other Vedic literatures, the language in which the residents of Sapt Sindhu region, situated in the northwestern part of India, express their literally expressions orally is called Vedic culture. A valuable literary tradition was carried out in this language, which was also full of religions and secular subjects. Vedic literature is very useful in understanding the tendencies of the contemporary society. The religious subjects of Vedic literature include yajna, gods, their nature, distinctions, etc. While secular subjects include human desires, crises and their solutions, nature of society, medicine, charity, marriages, etc. These give an understanding of the various aspects of society. The period of development of Vedic literature is considered to be from 6000 BC to 800 BC. During this period, the development of literature is seen in four phases. These are division according to subject matter. These are Karma Kanda, ritual, Jnana Kanda. Four divisions of Vedic literature. These are Samhita, Brahmin, Aranyak, and Upanishad. Now we will see Samhita. The Samhitas contain a collection of Vedic mantras. They have four main forms: Rigveda, Rigveda Samhita, Yajurveda Samhita, Samveda Samhita, and Atharveda Samhita. These are four Vedas, and these are all their Samhitas, group of mantras. They were divided keeping in mind the functions of four Ritviks, those who conduct yajnas. These called Ritvits, working in Vedic yajnas. These four Ritvits in yajnas were Hota, Adhitva, Adheyu, and Udgata, and last Brahma. Hota from Rigveda, Ardhavyu from Yajurveda, Udgata from Samveda, and Brahma from Atharvaveda. Hota calls the gods in the yajna and praises the yajna devatas by reciting the hymns. A collection of useful mantras for the use of Hota is in Rigveda Samhita. The work of Advaryu is to perform the yajna in a proper manner. The mantras required for this are called collected in Yajurveda Samhita. The work of Udgata is to sing hymns in the yajna. He pleases the gods in a sweet voice. Its uses for this, the mantras of Rigveda Samhita are compiled in Samveda Samhita. A Ritvij named Brahma supervises the entire yajna so that there is no mistake. Although he is a knower of all the Vedas, his own special Veda is Atharvaveda Samhita. Now the second one, Brahman text. The main purpose of Brahman text was to explain or prescribe the method of yajnas by changing the opinions of Samhitas. In this context, many ethical, social, and political matters have also been discussed. A comprehensive analysis of Vedic religion has been done in these texts. The third one is Aranya Granthas. Aranyaks related to Brahman Granthas were composed in forests. The thoughts of sages on the origin and importance of Vedic rituals and ceremonies were kept in Aranyaks. Well, like Brahman Granthas, these were also written in simple prose. Aranyaks of different branches of Vedic Samhitas were also separate. An attempt has been made in these Aranyaks to attract the ritualistic people towards Gyankand. These were related to Vanprasthashram. And now the fourth one is Upanishads. The Upanishads are the last part of the development of Vedic literature. Philosophy was discussed in them, although this was already mentioned here and there in the Samhitas and Aranyaks. In the Upanishads, very deep things have been said in the form of dialogues between the Guru and the disciples. The mysteries of the soul, Brahma, and the world have been revealed in these discussions. Being the last part of Vedic literature and revealing the development form of Vedic philosophy, they are also called Vedanta. Upanishads also called as in Vedanta. Some key points which can verify. What is Vedic literature? A valuable literary tradition written in Vedic Sanskrit, full of religious and secular subjects. The development period of Vedic literature is from 600 BC to 800 AD. Samhita, collection of Vedic mantras. Four main forms of Samhitas are Rigveda Samhita, Yajurveda Samhita, Samveda Samhita, and Atharvaveda Samhita. The four priests of the sacrifices, Hota, Advayu, Udgata, and Brahma. Kalpa Grantha related to rituals. These are Sutra literatures. The Shruti prescribed karma is called Shrota. And the Smriti prescribed karma is called Smarta. The method of performing Shrota and Smart karmas is controlled by Kalpa Vedanga. We know that there are 6 Vedangas: Shiksha, Kalpa, Nirukta, Grammar, Jyotish, and Chanda. Kalpa is the most important among them. Shrotra Sutra, Griha Sutra, Dharma Sutra, and Sulva Sutra are included in Kalpa itself. Vedanga is also described in Mundak Upanishad. Note it down just. The 4 main types of literature are Shrotra Sutra. These contain an olderly explanation of the sacrifices prescribed by the Shruti. The second one is Grahya Sutra. These systematically describe the various rituals related to Gardic yagnas and festivals, etc. The third one is Dharma Sutras. These sutras texts mainly deal with ethics. The fourth one, Shulva Sutra, a compilation of riches and a unique text depicting the immediate civilization and culture of the Sapta Indus regions. Or then the time described is 6000 BC to 12,000, 6000 BC to 1200 AD. according to the opinion of different scholars. This is described in Mandal 10. Now, Sukta 1028, number of Richas 10,580. Richa is derived from Sanskrit word rik, meaning to praise. Available branches of Rigveda are Shakala, Ashvalyana, and Shankyana. And now, Yajurveda, code related to rituals. Two forms of Yajurveda, Krishna Yajurveda and Shukla Yajurveda. The Krishna Yajurveda is called mixed or Krishna Yajurveda rather than original because it is mixed with Vinyoga, division, mantras, etc. And Shukla Yajurveda has only the mantras part. For example, it contains the original mantras, hence it is called Shukla Veda, pure. The famous branch of the Krishna Yajurveda, the Taittiriya Samhita. Other Samhitas of Krishna Yajurveda, that is Maitreya, Kathaka, Katham, that is, and Kapisthala. Famous branches of the Shukla Yajurvedas are, these are Maitrayani, Shukla Yajurvedas, Vajasneyi, Madhyandin Samhita, and Karma Samhita. These are described in chapter 40 in the Shukla Yajurveda. The 14th chapter of the Karma Samhita is known as Ishavasya. Now the third one, Samveda, a composition with chants and in rhyme. Music originated from this Veda. Famous branch of Samveda is Kautham branch. Now fourth one is Atharvaveda. Om from spiritual knowledge, destruction of enemies, health, agriculture, growth, marriage, commerce, abhichar, that is tantra, mantra, witchcraft, etc. Collection of related mantras. These all are from Atharvaveda. Another name for the Atharvaveda is Atharvangi Ras Veda. Rishis of these Atharva and Angira. Kan 20, Sukta 731, Mantra 5841. Brahman texts. Brahman means associated with the Vedas. These are Brahma, a ritualistic explanation of Vedic mantras. Brahman texts related to the Rigveda Samhita are Aitareya Brahman and Kaushitki Brahman. The Brahman of the Shukla Yajurveda are Shatpat. The Brahman of the Krishna Yajurveda are Taittiriya. Brahmanical texts related to the Samaveda are Tandya, 26th Gemini, 25th, etc. The Brahman text of the Atharvaveda are Gopat, a thought-provoking text related to the Vedic rituals of the Aranyak sages. Available Aranyaks are Rigveda Aranyak, Aitareya and Kaushitkar. Yajurveda Aranyaks are Brahma Brihadaranyak, Taittiriya and Maitreya. And the third one, Samveda Aranyaka, is Gemini and Chandogya. And now, lastly, Upanishads. The subjects of Upanishads are spiritual texts of Vedic literature which contain thoughts of soul, living beings, world, God, Brahma, salvation, etc.